Okay, welcome everybody to another new episode of the Rock and Roll Painter. Today we got a little painting I like to call Soaring High. It'll be some distant mountains, a nice big detailed evergreen, and an eagle flying up the inside. So let's see what we can do to get started. So we got a 16 by 20 canvas. Got a little bit of your white medium up there. So let's get rolling. Okay, we're gonna take a big brush. We'll take some color. We're gonna go into a little bit of our blue. Already getting paint on my hands where we started. Go to a little blue, but we don't want a lot of blue. We don't want a lot of value up in the sky because it's going to be a distant sky. So we'll just get a little bit of the blue. See what we got here. Let's see what we got. See how that's looking on the canvas. All right. Kind of got things set up new in the studio here, so we're trying to just see. It's just an experiment to see how things go. Anyway, we get this big brush going here. Get a little bit of this blue color. Like I said, we don't want a lot of value. Especially looking on the canvas here. Be a far away mountain. So you can make a little bit more of that blue. I don't like to use a big goofy palette. I use paper palette, just a whole lot easier to clean. But to each his own. Whatever you want to use what you like to use. Anyway, we'll get some of this color, a little bit of this color down here. See, I've got this white beady down. I don't have any in the bottom here because there'll be some dark color down here. I don't want to dilute that color. So we'll just not put any of that white medium on there. Alright, we'll get some of this blue color down here. It's going to be a faraway sky here. Make sure you get all the way covered. See how we're looking here. I got a cheap canvas here today. Make sure we get all the corners covered. Okay, let's go. We'll have a little bit of cloud action. Not much. I've got a half round brush that I've kind of modified, cut at a 45-degree angle. I think it works a whole lot better for me and the students when I have it in class. If we just tap in, get a little bit of white. It'll mix with this blue up here. So we want a little bit of a quiet little cloud. Well, this cloud will have a little bit of highlight on it. Back here in the back, I still got a little bit of white. Maybe just touch more. Some clouds way off in the distance there. This cloud come back. See, kind of tapped in. We get those nice cumulus clouds. Get those nice cumulus clouds. So we don't want to value a lot of detail going on. I'm gonna put a little bit more white just to make the first cloud there kind of pop. So it has a little bit of value on that first cloud. So those other clouds are kind of way off in the distance. Go back with our dirty brush. Kind of lightly, just kind of set that cloud down in the sky. Got a little bit of cloud. Like I said, these are quiet clouds. Just going to be a little bit of cloud going on there. Okay. I want a nice big mountain up here, but what I want is a mountain that's far away. So we need less value for that. So with my color, I'm going to go a little bit of my sky color. A little bit of white. Maybe a touch of mountain mix just to grade it down a little bit and see what this color looks like. I'm going to use a flat brush instead of a knife because I think I get more control and I don't want it's not going to be a big dramatic mountain. They're going to be way off in the distance here. I'm just going to get a little bit I want it just a little bit darker than the sky. That might be just a little bit darker, but we're going to go with that. Got that first big peak kind of hanging down here. We got another little peak here. Maybe a peak here way off in the distance. See, with this brush we get a lot. Let's make that peak stand up a little bit. Just get a lot more control with this brush, what I like to use for these far away mountains. See, we got this peak over here is going to be behind this big evergreen, so I'm not worried about a lot going on with that one. Pull some of that color out. See, let's pull some of that color out. This mountain's far away, so I want it to be soft. Not a lot of value, not a lot of. All right, let's set that mountain in there. Once again, I just want to get a paper towel here. Just really want to soften that value down because this mountain's far away. I want to soften that value down, and I'll even take that big brush we had, kind of soften up the corners, really kind of lose that mountain off into the sky. Really kind of lose that bottom. Would be kind of a mist down here. Kind of lose some of the bottom of that mountain. There we go, that works for me. Let's see what we got here now. Now we're going to create another little, well, let's go ahead and get a little bit of highlight. I'm going to use a little bit of smaller flat brush. We're going to go with a little bit of highlight. We'll go once again, a little bit of blue, a little bit of white. We don't want this a bright white because it's far away. A bright white, the value brings that mountain forward. We don't want that. Maybe take just a touch of umber, just to grade down so it doesn't have a lot of, so it's not popping. See, I don't need a lot of this color. And we got these. When you take the knife, you get a lot of big, thick paint prepared to break it. It gets a lot of detail. These mountains are far away. We don't want that detail. So I want just a little bit of highlight. Just a little bit of highlight to kind of show those mountains are far away. So you don't want a lot of detail. Hopefully you can see it's just a little bit. Just a little bit. Maybe a little bit on this guy. We have some of that come down here. So we want, these mountains are far away, so you won't see a lot of detail. You want to get a little bit of a darker color, some of the mountain mix and some of that blue we had. Maybe a little bit of shadow on this side. A little bit of shadow. I'm gonna go just a little bit, just a touch brighter on that. I'm having trouble seeing some of that, just a little bit. So we don't want a lot of value on that highlight because these mountains are far away. Maybe have a little peak here, go there. Once again, I'll take that big brush, just kind of tap in, kind of soften those, base that mountain down. Then the bottom of that mountain is in that mist, far away. But we can get a little bit of shadow color on the side of this guy. A little bit of shadow color. There's these mountains are far away. Maybe a little bit more of the snowy highlight on that side. They're far away. Okay, I'm gonna go back to that big flat brush. Back into it. Get a little bit darker this time, just a little bit darker. We got a peak that's in front of it, so with it being a little bit darker, this mountain will show up. You see, I don't want exactly the same, I don't want to repeat the same shape I have in that mountain. So let this mountain come down, have a little bit more, get a little bit more of this color. Need to set my palette up there a little bit. Get a little bit more of this color, get a little darker, get a little peak here. Maybe a little peak back there. Then kind of lose that mountain off into the sky again too. Lose that mountain in the sky. Kind of soften that guy down, soften him down. Pull some of that color down. These mountains that are far away. All right, we'll set that guy back down. Let's once again kind of want to lose that side of that mountain off into the wild blue yonder. Kind of lose that mountain there with some mist. Maybe get a little bit more color here. Down here at the bottom of that mist, get a little bit more of the blue. That sky color, but look, it's still just kind of a misty kind of color. Picking up that white medium. Mountains are far away. Now I go back and my big mountain brush go. Let's bring, see if we got a peak. Some of that dark color. See if we got a peak coming down. See, I haven't painted on camera in a while. Take me a little while to get back into the mode, get back into the swing of things. So I'm gonna try to do a few more videos. A lot of people are asking for some stuff. There's a lot of people out there doing a lot of videos, but you know, I'll throw my 2 cents in and see if anybody can learn anything. A lot of my compositions are kind of simple, kind of basic, but they're effective. So hopefully, if you do some of these, they'll give you confidence to go into some of the bigger, more involved compositions. All right, we got that mountain kind of, another mountain in front of the mountain. We're gonna go back and get that little small brush. This time we may go a little bit brighter on our highlight. But still, you want just thick white, because it brings that mountain right up to the front here. We don't want that mountain way up close. So we got a little bit of highlight, just a little bit, kind of change the shape of that peak. These mountains are far, far away. Got a little bit of snow action on that mountain. Maybe a little bit. You might see a little bit. That, guys, it disappears into the wild blue yonder. Let's get a little bit more. See, we got a peak coming down here. Maybe we got another little peak coming over this way out into the mist. It breaks that guy up. Maybe there's another little peak here. Like I said, there's not a lot of detail, not a lot of stuff going on because these mountains are far, far away. And once again, we'll go. Let me get my paper towel. All right, we'll go a little bit of the shadow side. We get a little bit of the mountain mix, a little bit of the blue. Got a little bit of a shadow, a little bit more of a darker value on this side. Kind of really just sets that highlight off. Like I say, you don't need that big knife. And a lot of people struggle with that knife. You see the old guy on TV come around, make that snow every time, but he's done thousands and thousands of those. The average person can't come in the first time and do it. With this little brush, you get a little bit more control, a little more confidence about what you're doing. You can make a nice mountain. So you get more of that shadow color, more of that shadow behind that little peak, maybe some shadow behind that little peak. Let's see what we got here. Put that up, go back with our big brush. There's our big brush. I'll lose those mountains into the mist. There we got a mountain, in front of a mountain. I set those down. So once these kind of hazy, because then when you have the detail in that big tree, that really gives you the feel of depth, the depth of field to really bring that big tree forward. So what we're gonna do now, we've got a big mountain and a little mountain. Let's start creating. We've got a big evergreen right over here. It'll really push the mountains back. I got just a basic little fan brush. Let me find one I like that's nice and get me to a good point. Maybe that first one will work. I'm gonna go with some phthalo blue, some mountain mix. I want a nice dark color because that dark value now in front of those soft mountains way away will really make this tree come forward. So let's say over here, you gotta think about rules of thirds. I want this tree about thirds, but I want it a little taller than the mountain. So I'm gonna start a little bit taller than the mountain. It's kind of where I want that tree to be. I want to load that brush up. Now, the way I do these trees, I don't push in where I bend that brush. I don't do that. I come in and I use a small fan so I get lots of detail. I'm tapping in using the points of those bristles to really get some detail. I'm gonna start with a couple little limbs. We've got another view here. Let's see if we get a little bit of view on this. I don't know if that'll give us any more detail. We'll go with that for a little bit, see how we are. Then once I start popping out, start getting some limbs, start popping out, get some action on those limbs. I don't know if the other view's a little better. Let me try. Is that view too busy? Let's go back. Let's just stay on one here for a little while. That's a new camera. Hopefully it's got good depth. But anyway, as you're putting these limbs in, just kind of tapping in. I want to see some action. I want to see some detail out on the ends of those limbs. I want to see some detail. I want to see some negative space popping through there. Kind of fill in the middle. Once again, I want to see some negative space popping out there. Make sure we got a little more color. Before I get too far, let me get a little bit of blue color back in here from the sky. Because got some bare canvas back here. Make sure we don't. Some sky back there, so it's just kind of a soft blue. Anyway, let's keep going with this big tree. So I'm just kind of popping out, pop a limb out every now and then. Work your way down, pop a limb out. I want to see distance between these limbs. I want to see that negative space. That's what's going to give us that detail. You need to fill in some of the space in between because a lot of the trees people make, you don't see the limbs coming out too. You see the limbs and the highlights on both sides. I want this tree to be big and round. Big and round. Let's see here. Okay, filling up that middle, come down, get that tree popping out, get that tree popping out. Let me try this view again, see if we get a little better, see if we get a better view. We'll switch it around, blue and black, keep going with this small fan, pop those limbs out. Pop those limbs out. I want to see all this negative space on these limbs. That's what I want to see. I want to see that negative space. This tree can come all the way right out of the picture. You have to try to frame him in, let him go right out of the picture. See some more of them limbs. I want to see those. I want to see all that negative space. That's what I want to see. That negative space is what tells me it's a tree. That's a big evergreen. Let's bring this guy on down. Bring this guy on down. See, I'm gonna try to do a bunch more videos here. Let me show you. We got some things in the plans here. Let's see. Yeah, we got a nice winter scene coming up, a nice big evergreen, and some depth of field back there in that. Let's try. Got a nice camp scene coming up, a nice moon, a little cabin down there. Let's try. Yeah, I like the seascapes. We got a seascape coming up. Look at all those wonderful seagulls and some rocks. Let's see what we got here. We're going to work on some cabins later. Go show you a whole different way, or some barns to show you a whole different way of doing some barns. Let's see what we got here, and a covered bridge. We had a nice class on this. So these are some of the things I got in the works coming up. So hopefully that'll give you some idea of what's going on. Let's go back to this scene. Anyway, yeah, I just want to show you. I got some videos, some things in the works. Like I said, I haven't filmed in a few years since COVID, so I'm kind of out of practice. So just bear with me on that. We'll try to get you some interesting projects coming up. Let's bring this guy all the way down. Bring this guy all the way down. See, I like using that little brush because it gives me a lot more detail going on. Really make sure you have some of that value thick in the middle there because we're going to put some highlights here. Bring this guy down to the ground. And now, I know some of you like to have, got a knife right here, some of you like to see that trunk. If I go a little bit of umber, a little bit of a white, a little bit of an ochre, some white, some ochre, and umber. I don't always put some trunks in there, but a lot of people like to see them. So you see a little bit of a trunk there, you get a little bit of a trunk there. You see some places where it's coming through, but a lot of places you won't see. Let's clean that guy up. So I'm still struggling to get set up. This is the Rock and Roll Painter Studios, but some days of the week it's a dining room. So we're trying to just make everything work here. All right, now to do a little highlight. I'm gonna get a clean brush. We could go with this dirty brush. I want some of that dark color on there. And we're gonna do a little bit of highlighting. So I'm gonna keep that dark value. I'm gonna get just a little bit of the white medium. I'm gonna go right in some green. I got that dark value, some green, a little bit of the white medium. I'm just gonna highlight this just a little bit with some green, then come in with some yellows too. So you get some different colors going on. So I'm kind of loading that brush up. You like to push in to get that color down in the end of that brush. Well, before we start there, let's try something. I want to get a little detail on top of that. I want to get a little detail on the top of that tree. So if I go with a liner brush, get some of that dark color, we can create some little limbs coming off the top here. Some little limbs coming out. Maybe you see a few bristles there. Or not bristles, needles. But that's so close that what we'll do even there, we'll take a clean brush. Some of these down here, I don't know if you can see that. We'll just pull down some of that color there. That'll give you the illusion of some needles there. Just give you the illusion of a few needles there. You won't see them in all the places. But just get a few needles coming down there. Now we'll come back and try our highlight here. Set that brush back so I know it's dirty. So once again, you're going into that green, a little bit of your light medium. And I'm going to start the light source, people call it. I like to call it the primary compositional luminance. And from this side, you've established that from the mountains. So I'm going to give a little bit of this highlight. I'm just kind of going to touch in, get a little bit of that green going here. A little bit more of the thin medium, a little bit more of the green. You're not going to see a real bright screaming green, but this is an evergreen. So you're going to see, I'm just kind of touching in. You see, I'm just kind of touching in the middle. That's those branches that are coming this way. You see the branches on the outside, but you want to see some of the branches on the inside too. In the middle, they're coming this way. That's what really makes that tree pop. The dark contrast against that light sky and the dark value helps make it pop. And then to get some of the branches in the front. I'm just kind of tapping in here a little bit just to give some branches. Now I'm going to go even lighter color yet. Now I'm going to go wipe this brush out. Let me wipe this brush out. Let me get a paper towel here. I'm going to go with some yellows on this side where we have our primary compositional luminance. Let me see if that gives me a little bit of view. I guess we'll stick with the first view. That's the better camera. All right, a little bit of the white medium. A little bit of yellow. So you don't want screaming yellow. I'm just going to get a lighter value of that green. Once again, I'm pushing in. I'm pushing into that color, getting that color out on the end of that brush. I'm just tapping, just touching. I'm not trying to bend. I'm not trying to. Now we'll get a little bit of highlight on this side where you have your primary compositional luminance coming in from that side. Get a little more of this highlight color. We'll just highlight that side and let it kind of disappear to nothing on that side. Hope that tree's really popping here. Get some more of that highlight, just a little bit of highlight. You can see by just kind of touching in, you see all these limbs going on. There's so many limbs going on in this tree. Get a little bit of it up here. Little bit of it up here. Now we got some ground we want to do here. That's going to work for me for that tree. So I'm going to go into it's a texture brush. It's a Wilson Bickford kind of texture brush. It's similar to a chip brush that you get at the hardware store, but it really does some nice texture for highlights and stick. So I'm going to take this brush, go into my dark color, go into my Mountain Mix, my blue, get some of that umber, maybe some green. Now I just want to tap in. I'm just going to tap in. I'm going to build some texture up. That's what that highlight's going to stick on. I'm going to build some texture up. Actually, here we're looking at all that mist, looking way off into that, the wild blue yonder there. Some more of that dark color, kind of set that tree on the ground. Now see, we're just tapping in. By tapping in with this brush, we're going to establish some texture there that our highlights will stick to. Get some more of the Mountain Mix, some more of the blue, some more of the umber, just some of these dark colors. Start over here with the darkest. I'll cover the whole bottom of this. Get the areas covered. I want to see this texture. This is not a mowed lawn out here on the golf course. This is out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody's mowing this land. So I want to see and feel a lot of thick grass. I want to see and feel, get some new stuff popping up in there. I want to see some thick stuff out there. Fill that guy up, set that tree right on the ground. There's a lot of texture going on. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. There's a lot of texture going on with this. Now we'll get a smaller landscape brush over here. It's the same kind of brush. It's just a loose texture brush. Now I'm gonna go with some highlight. Now I'm gonna go with a little bit of our thin medium, white medium, some yellows, some greens, some yellow ochres. Get some different colors going in yellow ochre. Once again, I want to push it in, get that color out on the end of the brush. Get that color out on the end of the brush. Now we're just going to lightly kind of touch here and there. Lightly kind of touch. Like I say, that's where our primary compositional luminance is coming in from that side. We got some thick grass going on. Hope that's showing up on that camera good. Like I say, this is not. A lot of times I see people, the grasses, and they kind of look like things are freshly mowed. This is not mowed grass. This is way out in the middle of nowhere. As you come over here, I want to get lighter and lighter because there'll be a shadow behind that tree. We're getting away from our primary luminance, primary compositional luminance, our light source. So tap that in. We got that tree. Look, Another name I had for this painting was launching pad. It looks like a place where you could be on a hang glider, take right off, fly out into the mountains. All right, we got this land up here. Some people might like a big rock to sit on there, so I'm gonna go with my burnt umber. Go with my burnt umber, maybe a little bit of white, so it's not too dark. But we got a dark value with this knife. I'm gonna say, say there's a rock right there. So I'm gonna put some of that dark value down. Put some of that dark value in there. See where I picked up some of that white already. Now I want to get some of that. Get some white. Get some umber. Some white. Some umber. You just kind of touch on that rock. Touch on that rock. Give a little bit of highlight. That's where people come and sit and look out over there. And I'll even want, once I've set that on the ground, I want to get a little bit of grass put back in there. Set that rock down on the ground. Set that rock down on the ground. Okay, let's look and see what we got here. I see like an old dead tree kind of hanging out there. So I'm gonna get just a little bit of thinner. I got this long liner brush. See, I got this long liner brush. Go with my dark value. Go with my dark value, kind of pull that. I say that's like a little old, what used to be a tree kind of right here. Kind of have that tree kind of hanging out in the middle of nowhere there. Just to give a little interest. Another area of painting, kind of loosely get some limbs going on there. There's some stuff growing back here. A limb to something back there. Okay, now this painting, when I first did, had this nice big eagle flying back here. We're gonna see if we can create that eagle. Let's find my small liner brush. Where's my small liner brush? There it is. I don't know how I lose that. I've got a big eagle flying out there, flying out the middle of nowhere. So I'm gonna come with a dark value to create those wings. That eagle's kind of flying out there. It's not like an inbird. You see, the eagle's just kind of catching some thermals out there. So if I kind of steady my arm on this easel, let's say he's back over here catching the thermal. You have a little bit of a wing, some of the feathers kind of showing off out there. Have a little bit of the body back through there. See a little bit of the body. And now we need to, what says that's a bird, what says that's an eagle, we need to give him some white feathers on his head and white feathers on the tail. So if I go into that white, get some white on that liner brush, kind of right there in the front. Right there in the front. A little bit more of this white. Kind of tap in, there's the head of that eagle and some white feathers in the back. That's kind of an eagle flying out there. Now see, like I say, I like to do a lot of paintings that are simple, easy compositions, but they're dramatic. This tree with the contrast and the distant mountains, you really get some detail in the tree. I like to see that depth of field, the field of depth between here. I mean, there's so much distance between this land and that mountain. I forgot to say, this simple project is inspired by working and painting with Kevin Hill. This kind of where this painting, some of the key points of this painting are from some of the things he does. Let's see what we can touch up here. See, I don't have a clue how long it's taken me to do this. I just kind of go through it. I'm naturally a fast painter. People tell me to slow down, but I don't want to slow down. I want to just do whatever works for me. So anyway, we got that all done. Let's get I'm gonna just go with a little lighter value here, a little bit of yellow, just sort of show up down here. I'm gonna put my JDW. I think we're gonna call that a finished painting. Like I say, I've got several more things. I've done so many paintings the last couple of years, haven't filmed any of them, so I've got a lot of things we can do. I've showed you a few, so hopefully we'll get those going here. Got a big snowstorm coming this weekend, so that'll give me some time to work on this. Well, I got my dining room set in the studio. I'm trying to take advantage of it and do several. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Like, follow, do whatever you want to do, but thanks for watching. Peace out.